momentum has not slackened for the demonstrations, and that the demonstrations are not allowed. There's a statement issued today by Damascus saying unless you have permission to assemble, you cannot assemble, and no permissions have been given. So after Friday prayers, it is very likely that people will come back out on the streets, and they will be smashed off the streets one way or another. Now, this isn't to say that the momentum is actually growing. I don't really detect that, and we're into the 8th week, well, 7 weeks now. So at the moment, I think the regime still has got a handle on this. It does not yet look like cracking. I don't think that the protesters themselves have got the power or the numbers to overthrow the government. And so unless part of the army is going to crack and go over to the other side, it's difficult to see anything other than continuing bloodshed week after week. And on the army, it's worth pointing out, if you take the conscript army out of the equation, of the 200,000 members of the full-time army, about 130,000 of them are Alawite. That's an offshoot of Shia Islam. And the point being that the entire ruling class of Syria, its business, its military, its intelligence services, its police and its army, are from the minority Alawite sect. So within the army, you've got 3/5 of the army who are not going to crack because they actually come from the same clan as the ruling class.
So little chance then of the army swapping allegiance then in your estimation?
Well, of the ones that know how to do the fighting and the suppressing, for example, the 4th Mechanized Division is almost 100% Alawite. The Republican Guard is almost 100% Alawite. The conscript army, which gets the second-hand equipment like the T-55 tanks, whereas the Republican Guard has the T-72 tanks, they are mostly Sunni conscripts, but their officers are Alawite. And so, until there is a crack in the military, I don't see how the protesters can actually overthrow the government. So at the moment we're in this week in violence. And also we had a blogger on this morning here on Sky News, and that's one of the ways we're getting information out of Syria. He's in touch with all his friends in Syria, sending in social media. He was saying that the repression has changed. After the slaughter of, he says, 600 people, some people say 500, there are no confirmed figures. The Syrian regime is now, knowing that every person you kill, you create 20 enemies because of their family, their cousin, their brothers. So instead, they're starting to do mass arrests. They claim there are then mass tortures, and then when you throw that person back into the community after a week of really horrific things that have happened to them, that allegedly cows people and makes them frightened to go out. So the tactic has switched. And as I said, I expect a day of violence today. I don't expect yet to see it having the momentum to really threaten the regime yet.